Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything and welcome back to the channel or the podcast wherever you're listening from. I hope that you are all safe. We're about to take a look at all the new signings FC Barcelona has made, and we're basically going to be trying to tackle the issue of what exactly we can expect to see from them over the course of the season. So with each of these players we're going to be doing that. So we've got Christensen, we've got Kessie, we've got Raphinha, we've got Jules Koundé, and of course, freaking Robert Lewandoski. Now, in the interest of keeping these episodes short, I don't want this to be super long. I don't want them to be super long. So I'm going to do what I just described in two parts. First part, I'll talk exclusively about how Lewandowski and Raphinha should work out for FC Barca. Then in the second part, we'll talk about Kessie, Christensen, and Koundé. So if you haven't yet already done so, hit subscribe or follow. And let's get right into it. We've got a lot to talk about, and we will start by first looking at the man, the legend, the goal-scoring machine himself, Robert Lewandoski, as well as the silky Brazilian Raphinha. FC Barcelona signed both Lewandowski and Raphinha from Bayern Munich and Leeds United for a combined fee of 103 million euros, with of course a few variables here and there in the case of Raphinha. Was that a hefty price? Maybe, but one thing for sure is that both these players can be huge assets for the club if they're used properly, which you got to think Xavi will be trying to do. Yeah, he could be trying to do that, surely. Okay, so let's look at exactly how the Polish goal machine and his new Brazilian counterpart can transform Barca's attack into one of the most threatening ones on the scene. When he is not being presented in front of an almost record-breaking 59,000 fans at Camp Nou, only surpassed by the 60,000 that came out to see Ibrahimovic, Robert Lewandoski is one of the most prolific forwards in the game and in the history of the game, as the soon 34-year-old has managed to score an average of 1.31 goals per game during his time in Bavaria. Think about that for a moment, because it's really a filthy statistic. It's no secret that Lewandowski has been top scorer in the Bundesliga for each of the last 5 seasons as well, and he broke Gerd Muller's long-standing record of the most goals scored in a single season when he hit 41 in that 2021 season. So, with all that in mind, it can be pretty easy to make the conclusion that all Lewandowski will bring to Barcelona is a boatload of goals. That, though, would be a tad bit misguided. For example, one reason Robert Lewandoski has scored so frequently is that he is very clever with his positioning and impeccable with his timing when it comes to making runs into free spaces. This intelligent movement, coupled with his athleticism, durability, and clinical finishing, will add a new dimension to Barcelona's attack that has not been seen since the era of maybe peak Luis Suarez. And much like Pistolero in his pomp, Lewandowski is very effective inside the opposition box. Just last season he scored a total of 42 goals, 34 of which were scored from inside the opposition area. Having said all of that, it is also fair to point out that Lewandowski had the benefit of a Bayern Munich squad that was built around him at the time, so there's no getting away from the fact that the whole Bayern squad worked together to make Lewandowski the top scorer, to make Lewandowski score as much as he did. However, that is not to say that Lewandowski does not help his team out on the pitch as well, as he has proved playing under both Flick and Nagelsmann that he is ready to press opponents for the ball, and we all know that there is nothing Xavi likes more than a player who is willing to press. But speaking of players that are willing to press, Lewandowski is in good company in that department, because much like the Pole, Raphinha is very adept at pressing opponents off the ball. In addition to that great ability to press, Raphinha can also be regularly found tracking back or chasing back opponents, meaning that he is unlikely to leave his fullback isolated or exposed during defensive phases. This ability will prove invaluable to Xavi, as the Catalan loves to set his team high up with fullbacks very, very high up the pitch. Xavi ball requires a lot of off-the-ball work, and Raphinha's hitmap clearly shows the defensive work that he does in his own team's box. Now, all of that stuff is well and good. You want players who are disciplined, you want players who will help you defend, but you see, Raphinha has more to his game besides a great work rate and defensive discipline. Much like his fellow wide man Ousmane Dembele, the Brazilian is a very skillful winger who can take on and beat opposition defenders by, dribbling past them. Now, admittedly, his 1.8 dribbles per game at 42% completion pales in comparison to Dembele's 2.8 at 66% completion, but his tally of 10 big chances created from the last season is only 3 less than the 13 Dembele managed, whilst his 11 goals dwarf the one his French teammate managed. The 25-year-old Brazilian scored those 11 goals in 34 Premier League matches in the 2021-22 season, and he managed an average of 32 passes per match with a completion rate of 70%, which you feel will only improve playing in a possession-hungry system like Barcelona's. And indeed, we do have some evidence of that, as we have seen in preseason that Raphinha has so far averaged an 86% pass accuracy, although of course his total number of passes has gone down a bit because, he's not going to be on the ball majority of the time, he's no longer the main guy. This ability of his, though, to pass the ball well is vital for Xavi, as wingers have a significant creative burden owing to the fact that they have the most space to work with out wide. So we're going to see a lot of the ball being worked out to Raphinha, and Raphinha then picking passes or crosses, much like we've seen Ousmane Dembele do so far. Another similarity Raphinha shares with teammates like Dembele and Ferran Torres is the flexibility that enables him to play on either wing, something that we have once again already seen in preseason. We saw that against New York Red Bulls, where he even got the assist for Dembele, where he was able to switch and play on both wings in that game, just like Dembele, can play on both of those wings. Last but not least, okay, we're still going here, right? Last but not least, Raphinha is also good with set pieces. Now, this is something which I think a lot of us Barca fans have watched on frustration when it comes to those, direct free kicks, especially those opportunities to score. We don't exactly take them. Well, Raphinha is quite good with set pieces. Both direct and indirect free kicks are a specialty of his. And just look at this beauty. He almost scored against Juventus. This is during preseason, of course. Now, obviously both Lewandowski and Raphinha have weaknesses in addition to all these listed strengths, but as their understanding with their teammates and their coach and their system gets better, one can reasonably expect the duo to take like ducks to water and really transform that Barcelona attack. And who knows, they could jetfire FC Barcelona back to the glory days. Well, that's that for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back in a couple of days with the second part, looking at Kessié, Christensen and Koundé, and just what we can expect from them at Barca. But until then, thank you once again for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barca.